Hey guys, so yeah, it's been a while since I posted on my YouTube. I typically do stream, of course. This is a unique thing. For some reason, I can't get a proper stream of this game. It's called the Ballad of Devil's Creek, and it's by my friend Melting Penguin. I wanted to play this game since they told me about it, and every time I try to stream it, for some reason the network's like, no, we're not gonna let you have a proper network connection. So instead, I am gonna play a little bit. He inputs it here because why not? It's the only way I can truly go. This is how much I enjoyed this. So yeah, and it's definitely been a while since a text RPG thing has been popped up on this account. It's been a while since I've done one on a stream, really. So I had one I was playing, so we're just gonna start over. We're just starting over, and we're gonna go from there. So. Alright, so before the tale begins, 5 important questions. 1, will I be drinking? Me, myself, I do not drink anymore, so we ain't doing that. Alright, do you smoke? Okay, but tobacco I don't. No. No. I'm 5'5". Or am I bald? No. We're gonna do this. Shave my head. Am I? I got both of the eyes. All right. Chapter 1: Trouble Brewing. What a night! You announced, dropping back on the bed. The Ruffed Owl saloon is packed, and you and your companion have been severely enjoying yourselves. After all, you had something to celebrate. As odd as the job was, it was a success, and you haven't ever been paid this graciously in your life. But as you retreat to your rented room upstairs for the night, your companion begins to grow more and more gloomy. Now he just murmurs a response as he sits down on his own bed. You cock your head, sitting back up. What is it, Charlie? Worried we burn through that money by the end of the week, you joke? Charlie raises his head slightly before asking, Nah, I made sure we won't. You know you can trust him on this. It's just, he frowns, smacks his lips together. Don't you think there's something wrong here? With the job? Charlie rounds. Yeah, like, sure, they called, yo, because they needed alright, let's take a look here. Reliable doctor, experienced outrider, someone able to guide them through the wilderness, a cunning card sharp, skilled gunslinger, or a silver-tongued priest. I'm in the Wild West. I don't even remember what I picked last time, so we're going to do a skilled gunslinger, because I don't care. Charlie apologizes. Well, they got you and I instead. Too kind, Charlie, he murmured a little sourly. Come on, what's wrong? Sure, neither of us is old as is entirely what they call for, but we did a bloody good job nevertheless, didn't we? I ain't now, mate. So cheer up. The job's done. We got paid, and these guys are none the wiser. You flash Charlie a smile. He doesn't smile back, though, but instead folds his hand and furrows his brows as he glazes darkly at you. Listen here, you clever litter. I'm sorry, but it just sounds better to be called bastard, but also me being an MB, it works for me. Alright, we're going to do they them. Listen here, you clever little bastard. So you got noticing there's something amiss here. You still going on about that, eh? Huh? You lean back in your bed and sigh. Have I ever been wrong trusting me good? Charlie asks. Well, there's that. He hasn't. And if there's one thing you can be certain of, then that is Charlie Mulligan says he's got a bad feeling about something. He's usually right. You lull your head a bit. Yeah, maybe. Come on, Charlie. We've done weirder jobs. No, we didn't. Charlie kicks off his boots and lay down. Even the bloody shite that cost me an eye wasn't like this. As to put even more emphasis on his word, Charlie chaps the embroidered eye patch sitting over where his right eye used to be. Whoop. All I'm saying is, you got a bad feeling about it. I get you, but it's a bit too late to back out. The job's over. We got paid. Charlie frowns and crosses his hands behind his head, staring at the ceiling. Still. You sigh gently. Look. What do you reckon? What the fuck was that? What do you reckon? We're going into Scottish territory right here. Look, what do you reckon's gonna happen? I can't imagine how. You get cut off by a knock on the door. You and Charlie exchange suspicious glances. Charlie sits up, reaching for his revolver. So do you before getting up and heading to the door. Taking care... Please on. Taking care not to stand in any line of potential projectile being fired through the admittedly thick wood. You grumble. Yes? I'm looking for Mr. Charles Mulligan. A voice sounds from the other side. Alright, options. Open the door and let that person in. Seems things are fine. Open the door, get whoever it is to see if I'm right not to trust they need to be shot. Shoot whoever it is. Open the door, see who's the shot. I don't remember what I pick. I know what's going on, but I don't remember what I pick, so we're going to open the door. You take a deep breath in and reach for the door, stopping as Charlie steps up beside you. What? You get question in a hush voice. Nothing. Just having a break. So no bad feeling about this? Not at all. Charlie grunts. And I'm realizing I'm skipping a lot of things. I'm just reading the dialogue. Just as a figure, never lets me down. Still ought to be careful. You hush. Charlie nods and steps out of view. You exult and open the door. Next. What greets you is the sight of a freckled young man with curly, tousled blonde hair and quite nice clothes. He blinks at you. Are you Mr. Milligan by chance? The guy asks, giving you a scrutinizing and mildly confused glance. You lower your head in a moment. Sigh. But not Mr. Mulligan. Mr. is correct, but it's not Mr. Mulligan. You say, looking, and you look at the young man up and down. What do you want? Who are you? Your hands wanders to your pistol again. The guy takes a startled step back. Never got why they don't allow guns downstairs put up in the bedrooms. He murmurs. The worry on his face speaks volumes. And not to leave the guest defenseless if some stranger spells trouble for him? You say, now again, what do you want? What I said. I'm looking for Mr. Milligan. Your visitor pauses. This is the right room, isn't it? If not, I have you by chance seen Mr. Milligan? Tall, thin man, chin long, auburn hair, good cheekbones, nice mutton chops, missing his right eye, sporting an eye patch with the ace of spades on it. One of them kind of thing. You grin as Charlie steps into view. Yeah, I think I saw something like that. You quit. Your visitor grumbles a little, having been played like this. But Charlie gives a small, reassuring nod. I'll take your description as a compliment. Much appreciated. My pleasure. You scrunch up your nose. If you don't know what Charlie looks like, why'd you ask then? You questioned. Shake your head, not waiting for an answer. Who are you? The guy holds out a hand. Sean O'Brien, sir, journalist. Oh, it is Sean with one of them fancy dashes over there. Journalist, eh? Looking at Charlie. You trust Charlie's intuition, but you really don't know what to make of this guy. Could I come in, maybe? O'Brien ventures. It's about Mr. McGullen's abilities. Oh. With a frown, Charlie drags the young man into the room. Rather roughly, he makes him take a seat on one of the beds. Car's on the table, mate. Charlie grunts. Oh, no, me. Ha! Car's on the table, mate. Charlie grunts as you close the door and lock it. What do you want? You're a medium, right? Charlie sighs. I do have a bit of a reputation. That's what I mean, sir. There is a person I need to talk to. There's a deceased one by the sound of it. O'Brien nods. Naturally. I sent a telegraph otherwise. He takes a deep breath. It's quite urgent of a matter. Your reputation precedes you, Mr. Mulligan. Charming, Charlie says, pulls up a chair. You're aware I'll be charging more than your down the street medium. If you can deliver what I'm asking, I'll pay you me some gladly. You lean against the door and cross your arm, trying to make sense of this O'Brien. Something's amiss. Charlie didn't have the bill of bad feelings. Curious. Spots on me. I'm gonna trust Charlie. You glance briefly at this O'Brien while he's speaking to Charlie. He's young, with short blonde curls and pale skin, and a myriad of freckles. Quite nice clothes. There's something shots you off. Now you see, Mr. O'Brien continues to say, I'm working on a missing person case, and I fear time is running out. Sorry to hear. Charlie knows Charlie. And you figure a medium's the best help you can get? O'Brien frowns. Yes, the person I'm looking for, and look, the person I'm looking for, and the person who asked me to do this wouldn't like it if I get any lawmen or the bloody Pinkertons involved. Charlie nods. I think I already told you it won't be cheap, but you know this can be a dangerous endeavor. So I've been told. Suddenly, Mr. O'Brien sits up straight and looks at you. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. In this whole time, I've entirely neglected to ask your name. Oh. You immediately caught off guard, but you do feel me. So, I don't feel like picking a name, so we're going to call Sam. Sam, huh? O'Brien goes, well then. There's a pause in which he ponders about this information slightly longer than necessary. Any further? He then asks, I know some folks don't have a last name, but I do believe you're not one of them. You cast Charlie a suspicious glance, but he nods reassuringly. He said much more. I like Sam Shepard. We're going to do that. SS. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Shepard. Likewise, you begin enthusiastically. Well then, O'Brien says, claps his hands and whips out a small notebook, beginning to scribble things down. Hey! You begin to protest. Oh, I'm just making notes. I mean, things go well. This can make quite the article. You don't want your name to appear? You simply roll your eyes. I haven't made up my mind yet. Brian nods. Say, what do your friends call you? He inclines his head towards Charlie, and again you roll his eyes. Usually people call me by my first name. Once again, pleasure to meet you, O'Brien says with a broad, friendly smile, closing the notebooks. Now. Oh no, that's... I can't read. I'm reading 5 times ahead. Now, Charlie settles down in an armchair and crosses his legs. I do believe y'all tell me your story, Mr. O'Brien. Certainly. And make it quick, Charlie asks. It's not a story to tell quickly, O'Brien says, flexing his hands. You gotta be patient with me, sir. Charlie frowns softly and uses sighs to sit down in bed. Now, O'Brien starts once he has both your attentions. It happened up in New Hamilton 3 years ago. One evening, a man entered the post office and handed a small parcel with the strict instructions to deliver it to a certain address on a specific date 5 months later. Odd enough itself, to sure. But there's a fellow who's got some weird business bets running. And that's what people at the post thought too. But the man gave him some further instructions. He said, if that parcel can't be delivered, to bring it to another address and tell the person there not to come looking. Paid a nice little sum of money. To make sure things happen like he said. And then left. Never to be seen again. Months passed, and when the dates came around, they tried to deliver the parcel as instructed, only to be told the man rented the room at the boarding house that they went hadn't been seen for months. So they went to the second address, and well, Brian stresses slightly. The person they met there was quite devastated when they got the package and were told not to look for who sent it. I assume the person decided to go looking anyway. Yeah. O'Brien pulls out a battered brass pocket watch from his coat. This was in the parcel. Surely he's seen some better days. Comment. O'Brien nods. Sure has. He says, looking down at the watch, lost in thought. Anyways, stepping out of it. Obviously, the person who got the package now was trying to find the watch's owner, which is why they contacted me. And for the past 2 years, I've been trying to locate that man. You can't help it. Something's fishy off about this O'Brien. And while you usually keep your nose out of building piece of business, you want to know what it is. I'm gonna wait to see what happens. Observe. Sit back and cock your head curiously. And now, and only now, you think of contacting the dead for help. Charlie says, rubbing his chin in thought. Then a smirk, he catches your eye. You know? He addresses O'Brien. I think you might want to come clean. Seems too nice to say anything, but I'm certain they caught on of how your tale sounds a little odd, and I absolutely agree with them still. O'Brien looks at you and sighs deeply. He says nothing, however. Look, Charlie goes on. I don't think you got any ill intent against us, so how about you tell us what's actually going on? With another long and sided defeat, O'Brien looks from Charlie to you and back. Yeah, He begins, leaning back, staring at the ceiling for a moment. You're right. There's no third person, and I ain't no fancy journalist. You admit him dropping the posh accent with dropping how it's a bit surprising. The whole story, Charlie says, if y'all be so kind, Mr. Is O'Brien. Oh, the whole story? If y'all be so kind. Is it O'Brien even your real name? The young man nods. It is. I'm a novelist, well, trying to be. So at least I'm a writer. Then why'd you lie? Because I figured I got a chance with Mr. Mulligan's help if he thinks I'm a respectable journalist. He glows. And not just some wannabe author looking for a missing friend. So at least that part's right, Charlie asks. It is. Then I ask you to give us the whole story. Charlie continues. For a moment, O'Brien squirms, scratching his arm. All right. And at that moment, someone knocks. He casts Charlie a rather confused glance. People certainly got interest in us today, he murmured, then raised your voice. Yes? Mr. Shepard, I assume? A man calls from the other side of the door. From the corner of your eyes, you see O'Brien stiffen and the color drain from his face. You look at him in confusion. Don't. He breaths, hastily pockets the watch and goes to grab you. Don't tell them I'm here. You open your mouth to respond when the man outside the door interrupts you. Mr. Shepard, if you kindly open the door, we believe there's a wanted fugitive with you. Alright. You stare at O'Brien bewildered, and the young man backs away towards the window. I can't stay here. He lets out a whimper, hazarding a glance onto the nightly streets. The look you give him only gets more bewildered as he pushes the window open and clambers out onto the canopy below. But don't tell them I was here, please. By all means, he sounds scared for his life. There's a small art gallery down the river. Meet me there at noon. As O'Brien vanishes from your sight, you turn to Charlie, rather baffled. Well then. Art gallery? They got art gallery here? It's really more of a glorified storage that lets people in, really. Charlie shrugs nonchalantly. Mr. Shepard! The man outside calls again, and you turn towards the door. Charlie gestures you to buy some time as he closes the windows again. Just a moment, you call, waiting for Charlie to sit back down. Only then you unlock the door. What greets you is the sight of a tall, gaunt man with sharp features, very prominent sideburns. Something about him reminds you of a skinned rat, and he's not alone. The man with him is a stout, grim-looking fellow with a collar as stiff as a corpse. You caught me getting ready to sleep, you say with as much rancor as you can muster. Terribly sorry, sir, the man says, tipping his hat. Agent Linwood and Turnbull, Pinkerton Detective Agency. Pinkertons. Well, there's a turn you didn't expect you're even to take. You don't need to turn to know Charlie's grimacing in disgust. Sure, you kind of expected it and worried someone in town would recognize your faces. But at worst, you had been expected sheriff or maybe someone to be bounty hunters to cause you some trouble. Not a bunch of union-busting, strike-breaking, murdering bastards with a badge that could ever since see themselves above the law just because rich people really value their services to keep the rich. Mind if we come in? Linwood asked. Granted, it's not much of a request as a demand. You know people like this well enough. You step aside. We'll make this quick, Linwood says, positioning himself between you and Charlie in the windows, while his companion blocks the door through. We have reasons to believe that you are in contact with one Mr. Shine O'Brien. Have you? Yes. Pale young man, mirrored of freckles, short curly blonde hair, missing half his left ear. Charlie shrugs. We've been informed that he was seen entering this room. How curious, Charlie deadpans. Now, I only got one eyelid, but that's good enough to see only 4 people here. That's one short, especially one that's been fitting your description. I notice. Linwood eyes the room, glazed, wandering from the wardrobe to the window, weighing in the chances. The doubt crossing his face is an odd relief. He looks at his companion, nods curtly, and clears his throat. There's a sizable bounty on O'Brien's head. Every righteous citizen would have an interest in seeing that man brought to justice. What'd he do? Enough to be a bargaining chip for anyone looking to get on their own head out of the noose. To put it like this, Charlie smiles without reaching his eyes. And yes, this is a one-time offer to the both of you. I know who you are. You and Charlie take a sharp breath in unison, and Linwood pulls out a notebook. Let's see. He begins casual.
Charles Mulligan, wanted for cheating, robbery, illegal gambling, counterfeiting, manslaughter, disturbance of the dead.
That one's been dropped.
Not in Chicago, it's not.
Lynn notes, dry as Death Valley, turns base.
And Sam Shepard, wanted for fraud, robbery, multiple cases of impersonation, resistance of arrest.
You're good. I get it. Well, you haven't arrested us yet, so what do you want?
Oh, I thought I made myself clear. Tell us what you know about Sean O'Brien. And things might go unexpected ways. You know, I've been trying to end this life of crime of yours, Mr. Shepard. And I can make that happen.
Don't believe you, but okay. I don't believe you, sir. I don't. As if. Charlie snarls away. Linwood regards him coldly.
Is there anything you wish to say, Mr. Mulligan?
Charlie leans back casually. Several things, but I'll restrain myself and just ask exactly what this O'Brien supposedly did to get the Pinkerton Detective Agency on his heels. Because you know, Sam and I, we're in the area for a while now, as you no doubt, and we got to no note or rumor of anyone of that caliber. Baragon, when it comes to when y'all come in here and make such an offer, make this guy sound like a second Denati or something. The agent seems to consider this for a moment.
He's a murderer, right? Cold-blooded at that. Have you heard of Edward Brightwell?
The tycoon? Who hasn't? I take it he's dead.
His son Robert is. You're free. You're fine.
Penguin, I think that needs to be a friend. Not, you're fine? What, you're fine. Oh, okay, no. Strike that. I'm just reading it in my head now.
You're fine, fine, Mr. O'Brien has entered.
Oh, no, I think that might be friends. I don't know if you misspelled that or not. I don't.
O'Brien has entered the estate of the family, New Hamlin, about 3 weeks ago. Bashed young Bright Red's head in with a poker.
He hazards a glance at Charlie, but the looks at it, he's not buying him. And Linwood protects me.
Have you seen, Mr. Shepard? O'Brien certainly enough to buy your freedom.
Oh, God. Lie, don't believe a word. Lie, the story starts in the core. Lie, granted, I do believe the story. Fuck that. Lie, I believe the story. Alright. I ain't gonna rat him out. I don't know about it. I'm gonna lie and give him some time. Make your nose. Going by your description, I think I saw the guy downstairs at the bar. But that's it. Whoever you told you came in here lied. And if you're trying to tell me you saw it yourself, you must be assuming that you were lying, sir. Linwood gives you the slightest glare. What? You protest before you can say anything. Where do you think this guy went if you've been in here? Please, do feel free to check the beds and the wardrobes. You take a step aside as to make way, gesture grandly at the small room. Just don't break anything. I don't think the owners would like that. Linwood casts you a scrutinizing and no doubt angry glare. I don't give a shit. Before pocketing his notebook again.
I see how it is,
he says. Sensing this might end badly, very badly. For you and Charlie, you don't throw up. Ask them how you shake dramatically. And I'm doing this all in one take. I ain't like stop recording. Now we're doing one whole take here. So, I mean, if I see this man, I will certainly inform you. No use in wasting your goodwill. Linwood looks again at you.
You are good, Mr. Shepard. Can't really tell if you're being truthful or lying through your teeth right now.
Only one way to find out. Bugger off. And see how things go. You found us once, and I'm certain you can find us again.
Correct.
See? I assume you're staying either here or any of the nearby hotels?
At the Dove, yes.
Linwood looks around again.
Just a reminder, Mr. Shepard, your cooperation would be a surefire way to end your problems.
As would not cooperating, right? You give him a sour grin.
Correct.
Linwood tips his hat again, heading for the door.
I bid you good night. Don't try to cross me.
As he pulls the door closed behind him and his companion. Moments tick by. What you guys don't know, when you do voices like that, it fucks up your voice. It makes it really harsh. And sometimes harder to keep going. So, bloody hell, aren't we screwed? Charlie slumps back in his chair. Once you became certain the Pinkertons were all gone, you excel heavily in agreement. I tell you what, Bloody Pinkertons were the last people I expected to run in here. You and I both. Charlie laments, rubbing his forehead. Y'all think O'Brien's balance higher than ours? Charlie ponders the thought. That Linwood sure made it sound like it, but I never heard of this O'Brien. Could still be a fake name. Taken into account. But you saw that ear of his? At least that detail's all gonna make this go around. Charlie's gaze darkens. Sam, don't tell me you're playing my random out. No, I'm very worried for me, for everyone. Alright, real quick. I'm gonna look at this. Hold on, where's the thing? Warnings. Ooh. Nice. Stats, that's what we're looking for. Sam Shepard. Age 0. I hope I get to pick my age here. Right. Alright. There we go. No, you said shaking your head. I'm very worried though. From you, me, and for this O'Brien. That makes 2 of us. I love how Charlie's voice is just fucking up and going weird here. Charlie says, stretching. You're not believing for a moment this Linwood was actually offering a chance. Hell no! And if he thought I would fall for that, he's delusional. What you think we can do now, child? Meet this O'Brien? Best course we could take, don't you think? This is certainly not how I expect things to go. Me neither. Would have warned you to say otherwise. You know what? I know. Know what? I need to sort my thoughts. You head for the door. If you need me, I'll be outside getting some fresh hair in me head. Next. Just a little later, you stand on the saloon's porch trying to let the cold air clear your head. You're really getting worried about wherever the sword of Damocles is hanging above you right now. You gloomily drum your fingers on the banisters of the wood and weigh your chances. You never heard of this O'Brien unless Charlie is wrong with this feeling for the first time since you've known him. He doesn't pose danger to you, so this O'Brien being a trap is out of the question. Not to mention Linwood could also very well have arrested you and Charlie in the room. No need for some fancy scheming or anything. But if this O'Brien's the small fish, why would the bloody Pinkertons go and try to get you to help? You frown darkly, shaking your head. It doesn't make sense. You rub your face, the more you think about it, and the more certain you get that this is definitely not how you expected the aftermath of that odd little job to go. You had all sorts of expectations for it, as weird as the whole affair was. You frown again. Maybe the best course of action isn't to head to bed and see what the world looks like by tomorrow. Draw a deep breath, exhale, and push yourself off the banister. You stop and scan the street. You can't help but to fear someone's eye on you. It's a busy night and there's people everywhere inside and outside the saloon, and you wouldn't know where to start looking. You instinctively search for the Linwood or the other guy in the crowd, but no avail. Back to your room and then... Just when you thought things were going to get weirder. I just thought one thing about a collar button, and I just was like, what? You groan softly as you head up the stairs, still scanning the crowd as you go, letting out a sigh of relief as you reach your room. You hesitate at the door for a moment, kind of expecting someone to address you. Nothing of that kind of happens. However, you sigh again as you open the door. The sight that greets you is a familiar one. Charlie's laying on the bed, his collar unbuttoned as is his waistcoat, his breath shallow, brows furrowed as he's staring at the ceiling, obviously sunken in thought. One hand holding a deck of tarot cards on his chest, his index finger drumming on the back of the cards. What your friends say on the other side say, you say softly after a while. Charlie turns his head a little. Not much. But you know, at least they ain't warning me against this O'Brien. That's good. They say nothing about this Linwood. I don't know what to make of it. With a groan, Charlie sits up and stretches. Matt says there's a few newcomers trailing that Linwood, though, but they're reluctant to show themselves just yet. You sit down on your bed, crossing your arms. What? Well, what can you expect about a pink to have some ghosts of his own? Charlie nods, putting the deck away. Should we sleep? Nothing else much we can do. Well, we can always hope that we actually get some answers tomorrow. You nod again and pause, rather bewildered. Again, as you're being watched. What's wrong? Charlie asks, seeing your expression. Something. I don't know what. You say. Charlie nods understandingly. This isn't what I expected of the evening. Neither. You get dressed for the night, as does Charlie. You lay awake for a little while longer before you drift off into an unfortunate, unsteady sleep. The morning comes. You wake feeling horrible, not in any kind of sickness sense, but the typical result of a bad night. Didn't sleep well. Charlie greets you, looking rather worried. Yeah. Bad bed. Snorting laughed. You tell me, I think the beds are pretty identical. You never know. Charlie grins for a moment before his face softened. But really, are you alright? You just roll your shoulders and thought, you can't tell. No. You say, too much on my mind, I guess. No surprise there. Charlie sits back on his own bed and flicks his fingers. It's almost 11 in the morning now. Guess we ought to hurry with things a bit if we want to meet this O'Brien again. You stretch and just tangle yourself in the sheets. Guess no breakfast then? Charlie shrugs. We can get something on the way. You get up and head to wash your face. Anything I don't know about for the day? Didn't get any warning yet. Charlie pats the box on the nightstand he keeps his tarot cards in. But I reckon that means we should keep an eye out for them bloody Pinkertons. Yeah, there's no way they ain't gonna follow us now. You dry yourself and hastily get dressed. Several minutes later. It'll be a bit of a walk from the owl to the gallery in question, and you and Charlie spend the first few minutes of it discussing if it would be worth to pretend that you're just strolling through the city. After all this time, unlike last night, you just don't feel watched. You know someone's got their eye on you. So you decide to make the best of things and enjoy the scenery of Clemensburg a little. The last time you've been here, though, has been your typical outpost on the frontier. But the river and the ever-growing railroad system has the town prosper into resembling something of a people-deemed civilization and more. I mean, not wrong. Gone are most of the wooden buildings and tents and some of the dusty roads. Brick and mortar and cobblestones are rapidly becoming a constant in the city's appearance. Even though it still makes for quite a hodgepodge of looks, the parts along the main street and the river can almost make one forget that between here and the next town is nothing but wilderness, rolling hills, and dense forests. And patches of dry prairie. But that's the climate in these parts. Everything smooshes together tightly and making for some nasty weather on a regular basis. Funnily enough, last time you've been here, you've also had people on your heels that didn't have your best interest in mind. And you don't know if it's the town being a lot denser, with more dark corners and nooks and crannies, than it is some years ago as an improvement. At least you got Charlie by your side this time. I'm not scared. Charlie got away with unscrathed. I'm still worried. I'm still to be worried Charlie's a good companion. No. I got Charlie with me. I'm like, there's reasons to be scared. There really are. You're glad Charlie having your back, and you have his. As you figured before, you've been in worse situations. You turn a corner and make your way through a narrow street as Charlie leans close to you. Notice the guy in the striped waistcoat following us. You nod carefully. I don't think he's alone. Charlie nods back with his checks his watch. Let's hope our O'Brien's clever enough to guess someone's going to follow us. He speeds up slightly as to you, slinking past some stacked crates in the mouth of the alley. You are barely 5 steps away when you hear a crash behind you and turn. The crates have fallen over and a small group of people is helping the guy in the striped waistcoat out of the debris. You exchange a suspicious glance with Charlie before hurrying on. Curious, Charlie mumbles. This is a welcoming turn of the fence. Not only do you have things to worry about, but I don't dare look back. Whatnot. Curious indeed, but something's off, but we ain't gonna risk it. Yeah. You exhale in a strained breath and keep your gaze to the ground. Charlie gives you an understanding and nods and has a glance back. He whispers. If I want to know better, I'll say that little carrot's keeping that guy from us falling. What? Beats me. Child mumbers. Better say we say twice as alert now. You nod to incline your head towards the crowd on the big street ahead. Let's get a bit of cover. It is by no means a crowd by the standard of big cities, but it only takes a few moments until you stop being watched. Sorry. It is by no means a crowd by the standard of the big cities, but it only takes a few moments until you stop feeling watched. Well, that's not entirely correct. It's more of that feelings change, oddly enough. The sense of dread that comes from being followed by the law has been replaced by an odd feeling of... You can't put your finger on it. Weird. But at least you are certain the Pinkersons have lost your trail for now. How far is it, you ask Charlie as he cranes his neck. I think it's down the street. It is indeed down the street. That's like a D&D level DM bullshit lines. Like, I think it's down here. It is indeed. A small, inconspicuous building with the windows of the upper floor decorated with flashy garland. Tacky. You snort amused. Says the one with the embroidered eye patch. That's different, Sam, and you know that. You shrug with a grin and make your way into the building, stopping briefly as the interest to look around. The feeling of being followed hasn't faded away yet, and by judging by the expression on Charlie's face, he's feeling the same. More Pinkertons, you mumber? Don't think so. I can't say I like it. You certain we're not in danger? You ask as you stroll past the artwork and sculpture exhibit here. Not dying at least, but truth be told, I'm still worried. Now, where's O'Brien? You find O'Brien waiting for you in one of the smaller rooms towards the back, looking at some quite risque paintings. He gives you a curt nod, eyeing you whirling. We're starting to get worried. You want to show up? He says, cocksaid. Or worse, bringing them Pinkertons with you after all. Turns out to be some kind of trap. I might reconsider my decision, you say dryly. O'Brien grimaces and looks away. Now, we're here. Charlie interrupts. How about I tell you why I came? Now we're here. Charlie interrupts. How about you tell us why you came to me and why this whole nonsense about being a journalist? I told you. Here comes the answer. I thought I'd be more inclined to help a journalist than a novelist. Yeah, I didn't put much research into things, you say. Charlie here tends to be helpful to a lot of fellows if they don't pose a threat. Again, O'Brien squirms. It's hard to miss the haunted expression and how he's wearing the cuffs of his coat. I know, he says, a bit of bravado. He's showing you six. It's just look. I need you to trust me on this. I don't know if I can make much of a good impression, but my agent said you killed Robert Brightwell. O'Brien's face falls as he looks close to tears. No, I mean, I did break into the manor, but that's because I had to get the watch back. You stare at O'Brien, mouth, what kind of story is that? Give him a moment to sort his thoughts. I don't even have to read the other ones. I know this. Patience. Moments ticks until you gently gesture to Brian to get on with it. Look, mate, you gotta say something if he wants to help you. Right now, all you do is not make sense. Brian clears his throat. I did get Brightwell. Yeah, I did break into the manor because I saw no other way. Brightwell's likely sold the watch I showed you. I don't know why. It makes no sense, but I needed to get it back. It's very important to me. Takes a deep breath. It was absolutely honest what was said about contacting Dad. Well, no, actually, no. I want to know if someone's dead or alive. So we're talking about missing persons here. Brian nods. I think the watch is owner's dead, but I've tried everything. When I heard you staying in Clemensburg. That moment, a small group of people enter the room, and O'Brien snaps his mouth shut. I hope we'll be alone here, he murmurs sourly, turning away from you. Let's look at the art. It seems the best thing you can do now is to wait for these visitors to leave again. You inconspicuously turn to the artwork as well. When after a moment, Charlie nudges you to the side, leaning closer. I don't think they're here for the art, he whispers. Oh, let me do that again. I don't think they're here for the art. You hazard a glance at them. While they don't look like your typical gallery goers, They do look like the type of people you expect to enjoy the particular kind of art exhibited in this chamber. But you know what Charlie means. And you can't shake off that feeling that you've seen these people before. Well, all but the woman standing in the archway, leading into the room. She's small, big, gaunt, possibly Chinese, and looking like she wants to slap the entire world around the face for having to do something stupid. I think we should leave. You whisper back to Charlie, who nods softly and turns around. You frown a little as you realize he's looking for O'Brien. You feel a chill run down your spine as two of the new visitors and the woman from the archway step up to you. Okay. Alright. Mr. Shepard, Mr. Milligan, I assume. I love how this is going to be my female voice. The woman says as you hear the clicking of guns being cocked. If you be so kind to follow us. Something presses against the small of your back and you're pretty sure it's the Duringer. And please, don't try to do anything fancy, the woman adds. Alrighty, I'm going to say I'm going to cooperate. You do briefly flick your gaze to her gun and then yours grunt displeased in the glare, but you give the woman a curt nod. Good, she says. I really hate to have pull it out of your abdomen. Mostly because I got better things to do with my time. Charming, really. Charlie mutters, shaking his head. Well, we all can't be smooth-talking thieves like you, Mr. Mulligan. Hey, Meadows. One of the men standing with O'Brien calls out, What about O'Brien here? The woman shrugs. Didn't expect him to still be here, but we can't let him go. That's out of the question. You brace yourself for the fatal shot, but instead two men just grab O'Brien roughly and drag him out of the room. Well, it ain't nice to see. I really don't want to get the blood on the artwork. Charlie deadpans. Charming. Now, should we go? She steps aside as if you actually have a choice whether or not to go with her. You roll your eyes and fall on the step behind as she leads the gallery to back interest to a carriage waiting in the streets. God, this feels like the first two episodes of a new show to where you're like, what the fuck is happening? I'm intrigued. Because that's how I feel right now. It's not the most pleasant carriage rides you've ever participated in, but squish it between Charlie and O'Brien on one side. Funnily enough, it's not the most unpleasant one either. Now, he finally says the carriage rattles along. Who you and where you going? I don't think you're the Pinkertons. Yeah, O'Brien asked. The bastards would have announced themselves as such already. Correct. We're bounty hunters. Oh joy. Charlie moans, you second the feeling. So we're good as dead. Not necessarily. If I had any say in it, you would all be swinging by the evening, but alas, my employer needs you. I guess you're not going to tell us who said employer is, are you? Why not? After all, Emma Blaine is no stranger to you. You slide off your side of the carriage falls silent. Look. Alright. Emmett Blaine's one of the most feared bounty hunters on this side of the Atlantic Ocean, and you and Charlie might have clashed with him before, and barely lived to tell the tale. You wonder what he might want out of O'Brien. Sure, that Linwood said he's a wanted man, but you wonder if that's all the truth at all, even with O'Brien's reaction to the Pinkertons last night. Just to make sure, we're talking about the Emmett Blaine? Tall, black, impressive mustache, missing an eye like Mr. Milligan here, showing a guy to death of the man's own intestines? The same. The woman says, but as a doctor, I can assure you the strangulation thing is a rumor. That's not reassuring as you might think it is. I wasn't trying to reassure you. Now, kindly be quiet, all of you. Mr. Blaine will answer further questions. You can't say you like this. You can't say that at all. O'Brien, however, has a few choice words about this. No! I already got them Pinkertons on me tail, and Blaine wants me, not you, O'Brien. Just these two. And you know what's good for you. You shut up now. Defend O'Brien. He's right, though. You remember, Blaine wants our help. We got all the right to know what's going on. The woman glares coldly. No, you don't. And if you know what's good for you shut up now. As Charlie lays his hand on your arm and shakes your head, you nod silently in agreement. Let's see how to keep quiet for now. Alright, let's see if I... Please tell me I can save this. Alright. I'm interested. This is a very interesting thing. Because I know I could go on for this for hours and hours, but I'm hurting my voice because I've not done this in so long. But no, I'm putting this up here for you guys to see. You can find this on Ichigo under Melting Penguins. And like I said, it is called the Ballad of Devil's Creek. It's up there to play. I know Penguin has been working on this for a while. I'm probably gonna do this as multiple parts. So yeah, hope to see you guys back here soon.